It's that time of year to set up your station to grow your indoor seedlings for the coming season. This is my station, so we're going to be talking about how I got it all set up, and I'm also going to be sharing with you how you can completely automate it so that it is on autopilot and you don't have to do anything. Just kidding. Of course, you got to do a lot of things, but there are some things that can be automated, and I'm going to show you what. So this is my indoor grow tent. I also start seeds in my sunroom, but that setup is not ready yet. I've got a bunch of seedlings already started here. And basically, the main things that you need grow lights. So this is a Kelvin and lumen rating that I will put on the screen because I never remember what it needs to be, but it needs to be daylight, and it should not generate heat, but it should be bright, and it should be the color of daylight. And then you want a seed starting mat. Now, I know that a lot of people say that, hey, that's optional. And yeah, maybe it is optional, but a lot of seeds germinate just so much better above 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So this helps keep it at that temperature, 70 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, which a lot of seedlings love. And then you also want to make sure that you have got some kind of fan, because this place can get really hot and humid, and you want to make sure that the seedlings also move around a little bit just to simulate the outdoor conditions. And then finally, you do need something like a humidity dome. Now, this really keeps the interior nice and warm and moist, which helps the seedlings germinate faster. I've got a video in which I've explained in detail all these things, and I will link to that. And I've also explained in that video how you automate your setup. I've got a thermostat and I've got the fan. All of these things come on automatically, and I will show you exactly how that happens. And oh, one more thing. I want you to make sure that you include this. This is a yellow sticky trap, and you can already see on it a bunch of fungus gnats. Yep, really important. Prevention is better than cure when it comes to fungus gnats, which are one of the biggest plagues of killing off indoor seedlings. So we're here in front of my indoor grow tent, which is in my bedroom, believe it or not. And I have got my indoor grow station set up here. Now, you do not need a grow tent in order to make this work. You just need an indoor grow station. And I'm going to be talking about how you can completely automate everything about it. The lighting, the heating, the humidity, the airflow, all of that good stuff. Now, you will need some basic skills in how to use smart devices and how to connect them and automate them through your phone. But it's really pretty straightforward to do if you've got some basic tech skills, and I'm sure a lot of kids will be able to help you as well if you don't have those skills. So let's go ahead and go through it. But before I do that, if you're getting value from this video so far, if you're appreciating anything about it, I sure would appreciate a big thumbs up. It really helps the channel and helps the video get out to a broader audience. Thanks. Now let's take a look inside. And by the way, this is not the best way or the only way to automate your grow station. This is just one of many ways. This is how I do it. So really quick, the philosophy which I use to connect and automate all of my devices in this grow tent or this grow station is I use what's called smart plugs. So I'm not using smart switches, I'm not using smart lights, I'm not using smart heating mats. They are all, let's call them dumb devices that are connected via smart plugs to the electrical outlet. That way I can use one central app to manage all my devices, and I don't have to have a different native app for each different kind of device that I'm using. So first, let's talk about lighting. Obviously, I've got my Barina light, but behind me, I've got all kinds of other different lights. I've also got these LED bulbs, I've got these tube lights, and I've got different kinds of lights that I use in this grow tent. And that's the beauty of it. You do not need to have one particular type of light because they all need to work together. You can use anything that you have because they're all going to be connected via these smart plug outlets from which they can be managed. So all of my cables connect to these power outlets, and all of these power outlets are connected to smart switches. So you can see that I have labeled them. This is L1 through 5, which corresponds to these, and this is LL1 through 4, which corresponds to this station. And yeah, that's a lot of cables because each one is connected to a different light switch. In fact, This is one cable. This is one cable. So I've got a lot of hodgepodge stuff over here. But the beauty of it is all of them connect just via these two smart plugs. And I can turn them on and turn them off on my phone manually. But I've got a routine set up which turns them on for 16 hours and then turns them off for 8 hours. That's what runs every single day. Now, if I've not got anything set up in these grow stations, I can manually turn off these lights. I've actually got a seedling tray over here, but I haven't set up any of the others. So I can actually come out here and I can turn off a light that I do not want. Now, like I said, the Barina light comes with its own timer, but this is not a smart timer. I want all smart timers. So what I've done is I've left it permanently on and I've connected it to the smart plug that is now controlled through my app. Now, I use an app called Smart Life to control all of my plug outlet points. And there are other apps out there. This is one of the better ones. And you may say, hey, can't you connect it via Alexa or via your Google Assistant? And yes, I can. But what I found is that these dedicated apps do a much better job of managing things like schedules. It's a little more complex and a little more hoops to jump through when you have to do it through something like Alexa or Google Assistant. So I use the native app, but I am able to control my native app from Alexa or Google Assistant. So that's kind of nice. So for example, if I just want to turn off this device, this is connected through a smart switch called Pi. So if I need to turn off just this light, all I need to do is say, Ziggy, turn off Pi. And it turns it off. Ziggy, turn on Pi. All right, we're back in business. So you see how I can connect all of my lighting devices as an example to one smart plug and then use something like Google Assistant or Alexa to turn all of them off in one shot or turn them on. Now, I don't normally do that unless there's a reason to, but I usually let the schedules automatically kick in at a certain time in the morning and turn off at a certain time at night. Okay, now let's talk about the heating mats. Now this is a little bit more complicated because I want the heat mats to be on as long as the soil temperature is not yet 70 degrees Fahrenheit. But once it hits 70 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the temperature at which the seedlings grow well, germinate and grow well, that's when I want the heating mats to turn off. So I've got a separate device for this that is triggered to turn on when the temperature of the soil drops below 70 degrees. Let me show you. So here is the device. You can see 70 degrees Fahrenheit is what it's set to trigger on. And right now it's 64, so technically it should be triggered, but I've not got it hooked up yet. And you see here, there's a thermometer. I've actually wrapped it in a little bit of plastic because I'm going to be sticking it in soil. So I stick this into the soil, and then I've got all of my heat mats that are connected to this device. So as soon as the temperature of the soil drops below 70 degrees via this thermometer, this probe that's going to be stuck in the soil, that's when the heat mats will come on. And if the temperature hits 70 degrees, the heat mats will turn off. All of the heat mats are connected to this power outlet, and this cable is connected right here to this device. I hope that makes sense. I will put links to all of these devices, the plug points, the thermostat, all of that I'll put links to in my product descriptions. Okay, so finally, the fan. Now, the fan is really, really important because this grow tent, it gets really humid, especially when I've got plenty of seedlings in here, there's moisture in the air, there's the heat mat. It gets really incredibly humid. So the fan does need to come on at regular intervals and cool things down and dry things off a little bit. It's an old fan, but it does the job. This is the cable of the fan, and it is connected to this smart plug. And again, this smart plug, via my phone, I've programmed it to come on for about, I think, a half hour, 3 or 4 times a day. And this grow tent actually has little pockets here and there that open to the outside. So I do open these up if the room gets really, really humid. I do not like the grow tent to be open because I've got plants in here, and my cats, especially the black one, very, very curious and likes to eat things. So I like to keep my grow tent closed at all times. But these little openings here, I will open those up, and then the fan will let some of that humidity escape, and then that keeps the room nice and dry. Now there's one more way that you can trigger your fan in a more automated manner. I've got it at set times during the day, but I've got a device, another device that I can actually hook into the fan system that will trigger it whenever the humidity reaches a certain level or when the temperature reaches a certain number. So this here is another little Wi-Fi connected device. It reads temperature as well as humidity. You can see the temperature is 65 degrees and the humidity is 59%. So if it reaches a high level of humidity, I don't know, 90%, something like that, I can trigger the fan to come on, and I can set up a routine in Alexa to be able to do that automatically. I'm not going to get into that in this video. In fact, I'm not even going to set that up. I'm just going to rely on this plug point to come in at a regular schedule and turn the fan on and then turn it off after a half hour each time. So like I said, I have got product links to all of the products that I've talked about in this video in case you want to get any of them. I've got affiliate codes for Barina as well as for the Vago planters, the Indo planters. I think they are all awesome products. I would not recommend them if I didn't absolutely love them. And I've also got discount codes. Everything's going to be in the description. I hope you enjoyed this video, folks, and do leave some comments below. What are your thoughts? How do you automate your grow stations if you do? Did you find this video helpful at all? Was it a little too techy and too complicated? Whatever feedback you can give me, I sure would appreciate. Until next time, live green and love your greens.